Hello and welcome to the October edition of our monthly movie reviews. This is a series where we take a bunch of movies we saw over the course of a month and we review them. All these movies have either been released in the theaters or on a streaming service, so yeah, they're all new, so yeah. And this is in order from worst to best, so it'll progressively get less negative, so yeah.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
The Hate U Give is not a well-made film in the slightest. The beginning has a weird color correction placed on top of it, or whatever. The performances are all over the top. Anthony Mackie is not believable as a gangster, and it feels fake in a way. It is weird. I think the movie is saved by the messages it presents, because it is presented so well, and the end actually had me in tears for 20 minutes, so GG I guess. 6 out of 10.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
The Old Man and the Gun is the newest film from writer and director David Lowery, whose last film, A Ghost Story, was one of my favorite films of 2017. This is also apparently Robert Redford's final film as an actor, and it's just okay. The more I see David Lowery films, the more I see that he's probably going to be a hit or miss director for me. This film isn't bad at all. It's quite enjoyable actually, and will leave you feeling uplifted when it's over. But the experience in its entirety is kind of underwhelming, and since I've seen it, I haven't really thought about it at all. And I'm giving The Old Man and the Gun a 6 out of 10.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
Can You Ever Forgive Me is like super well made, but it's so boring, like super duper boring. I like Melissa McCarthy's performance and I really like the technical aspects of the movie, but I wouldn't pay to see this. It is not the best thing in the world, but it's way better than a lot of things that have come out this year. 7 out of 10.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
Mid90s is the directorial debut from Jonah Hill, who you know from everything. You can tell that he was very inspired by Mean Streets era Scorsese and the indie films of the 90s. The dialogue between these preteens is unbelievably accurate. For the most part, the film has this beating heart that you want to keep following, but as the film carries on, that spirit kind of fizzles and the novelty wears off. The film is only an hour and 24 minutes long, so it seemed like Jonah Hill didn't really have a whole lot of story to tell, but it's fine. I liked it a lot, and I want to see it again, but I'm not going to rush to see it. And I'm giving Mid90s a 7 out of 10.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
Beautiful Boy is the latest dramatic vehicle for Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. This film is confusing to me because on paper, I should absolutely love this movie. But in the execution of the film, it's weirdly edited, Steve Carell is miscast as the concerned father, and the cinematography is just fucking there and it's incredibly awkward to look at. But I kept thinking about the film well after it ended. It also made me cry. I think I attached myself to the ideas of the film and those really stayed in my head. Also, Timothée Chalamet is brilliant in it, but you probably could have already guessed that. And I'm giving Beautiful Boy a 7 out of 10, but it could be a 6 in the future.
Here at Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
Venom! Gonna get them, get them, gonna venom, gonna put the venom.
Before we got mixed up with all the Halloween videos, we were originally going to do a hot take on Venom, but a couple of minutes into the video, we were just gonna...
A Star is Born was good. I had a really good time with it, but I kind of felt like something was missing. I really didn't care for Bradley Cooper being unintelligible for the majority of the film. Even when he was sober, it was super annoying, and there were some strange editing choices, but overall, it was good. I only remember The Shallows from that movie because that song is great. Gaga's performance is amazing, and she deserves to get nominated for every Oscar category, literally. She did a really great job. I was also a fan of the commentary that the film had on the pop music industry as a whole, and how it's garbage or whatever. Real great. Movie was good, not as emotional or heavy-hitting as La La Land, but still good. I recommend. 7 out of 10.
A Star is Born is the directorial debut of Bradley Cooper. Holy shit. Wow. This film fucked my shit up. This film is beautifully directed, acted, and everything else. It's wonderful. It's emotional. It's great. There's a few awkward scenes in there towards the middle, but you kind of forget all that by the end when you're bawling your fucking eyes out. Bradley Cooper gives the best performance of his career, bar none. Lady Gaga is well cast as a version of herself, so it's not really a large leap for her, but she does a wonderful job. Matthew Lebetique, the cinematographer of all of Darren Aronofsky's films and Venom, LOL, does a wonderful job behind the camera. I know I'm just going over basic things that people say when they love a film, but I don't want to say too much when there's so much to say. Go see it. It's honestly what every Hollywood film should aspire to be. And I'm giving A Star is Born an 8 out of 10.
Here with Patrick, Clippers game. We're gonna help them tame those Raptors.
First Man is the latest film from Oscar-winning director Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash and La La Land. And Chazelle with this film has proven himself to be versatile as fuck. He managed to make Whiplash and La La Land, which are very similar to each other, but are 180 degrees apart in terms of tone. And First Man is similar to both of those films, but it's 180 degrees apart in style. And I guess the DGA knew this because the Q&A for this film at the DGA Theater was moderated by Darren Aronofsky himself. People had complaints about the cinematography, but like, it's not supposed to be pretty. Good cinematography is not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to have personality. And what I mean by personality is that it has to have a presence. It can't just sit there like all of the movies we shit on this channel. The presence is dictated by the mind state of the protagonist. The main character in this film happens to be Neil Armstrong, and he's depicted as an emotionally intense, reserved, and detached person, so the film is mostly in close-ups of people trying to connect with him, or close-ups of him trying to hold himself together until he can reach his goal. And for the most part, you only get wide shots when people fail to connect with him, or if he fails to reach his goals. The camera shakes because it naturally would shake in the situations that it does, and it's never on purpose, like Taken 3 or something. People fucking love the cinematography in Terrence Malick films, but it's not pretty just because he likes beautiful imagery. His movies are based on nostalgia. That's his aesthetic. In The Tree of Life, he plays on the idea of looking fondly at the past and having regrets, and that being beautiful no matter how ugly the circumstances were. It has a fucking purpose, just like the cinematography in First Man has a purpose. Anyway, the sound design is brilliant, the score is very held back, and I think that's a good thing because with everything else going on, if it was as big as it was in La La Land or Whiplash, it would have been sensory overload. Ryan Gosling is giving his best version of stare off into the distance while being very still as he can, and although I just clowned it, I think that acting choice in this film is better communicated than in most of the other films he has given a similar performance in. Blade Runner 2049 notwithstanding because he was playing a robot with no emotions. Anyway, even though you know the how and the if Armstrong got to the moon, the reason to watch this film is the why. And the why made my eyes sweat. And I'm giving First Man a 9 out of 10. Damn, that's 3 9 out of 10s in 1 month. What is going on?